Hey guys, it's Lady Raven, the Wild Witch, and welcome to The Witch's Inn. For today, I would like to be talking to you guys about magic and anxiety, and that is a topic that really is very important, and it comes up all the time, especially when you have people who are new to the craft, or a lot of times, a lot of my students will ask that, or also because when we are emotional, a lot of times we want to use magic in order to soothe whatever emotions it is that we're going through. So today we're going to talk about how do you use some components of magic to help anxiety, to help relieve some of these negative emotions. And then we're going to talk about the flip side of that, which is when should you not be using magic. So those two are very important. So let's start with the first one. And the first one is, when should you, what can you do in terms of magic to relieve your anxiety? So there's quite a few things you can do. The very first one, I think most of you are probably familiar with, is going to be meditation. So meditation is one of the best things that you can do to relax and to chill and to bring down your blood pressure, basically. And just to give you guys a fun anecdote about that, because actually I use that very effectively when I went to the doctor. So I have to get a iron infusion about every 18 months or so because I have pretty severe anemia. And so the last time that I went in, or actually, no, it was the time before the last time that I went in, when I got there and I sat down, I had had a crappy day. I had had tons of coffee. The girl at the front desk really frustrated me because she wouldn't check me in. She was yapping away with the customer in front of me. And so by the time I got there, by the time I got checked in, I was already 10 minutes late because I had been waiting for 15 minutes in the lobby for her to check me in. So I sat down and they came and took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was 200. And they were like, we can't do this infusion for you right now at 200. And I could feel the anxiety. So I said to her, I said, give me 10 minutes. And she said, okay. So she went away. And for 10 minutes, I sat there and I did a very quick journey, where in my journey I just went, to a forest, and I walked in the forest and I sat down on a bench and I just chilled, and I saw the sky and the sun, and I felt the animals around me. And by the time I came out of that meditation, she took my blood pressure and it was back to normal. And then I was able to have my infusion. So that is the power of meditation. Now, let me give you some tips about what it is that you should do and what you shouldn't do when you're experiencing anxiety and trying to use meditation to be an anxiety reducing tool. So the first thing you don't want to do is you don't want to do any meditation that's clear your mind. You're filled with anxiety. You are not going to be able to clear your mind from anything. So the best thing that you want to do is you want to do a guided meditation, or you can do a journey, right? Where you kind of go down this, you decide in your mind during your meditation that you're going to go somewhere. And as you go there, you explore this world that you're going to. It gives your brain something to do, and your anxiety gives it a chance to chill out. If you feel that you are unable to do that, even I would then find a guided meditation that you can have. I would have one recorded like in your phone or anything like that, so that when you're feeling that moment, put in your earbuds, turn that on, and it just feel that relax you. And it's important to know because meditation to reduce anxiety is one of those things that you can do that doesn't add any additional drugs into your system. So, which is one of the great things that you can do. Obviously, you can drink some chamomile tea before you do the meditation if that's what you want to do. Sometimes when I'm really anxious and I want to calm down, if I have the opportunity to drink some chamomile tea, I will. The problem is that chamomile tea takes a while to take effect. It's not going to be immediate. It's not like drink chamomile tea and then do it. So what I try to do is I try to drink it. If I'm at home, I'll drink it, and then an hour after I drink it, I'll do my meditation. So it's a process of kind of coming down from that anxious spot. Another thing that's really good for anxiety is going to be amethyst. So I wouldn't use a piece like this. I would use a piece that is maybe polished, and you can sit down and just use that piece and just rub your fingers across it. And just in that act alone, you're going to notice that it's going to start calming you down. So one of the things that I like to do when I do that is you can use a mantra, or you can just use whatever it is that you want to do. Normally I will say, I am calm, I am collected, I am in control. I am calm, I'm collected, I'm in control. And then you can add whatever else you want. So if there's like, there are days that I'll add, I'm at peace instead of I'm in control. There are days that I will add, I release all that is making me anxious. I release all the negativity. But you pair that mantra up with a piece of amethyst that has been specifically designated as your buddy for when you're having an anxiety attack. It's really a powerful, powerful experience. So those are a couple of tools that you can use to release your anxiety a little bit. Another thing that you can do to release your anxiety is grounding. So you would sit down and you would basically envision that you have, we call it a tap root in Magick, but essentially it's a root system that grows out of the base of your spine, and it grows down into Mother Earth, all the way down. It races all the way down to the center of Mother Earth, and at the center, I generally visualize that as a pulsating green gem, which represents the heart of Mother Earth, and it's always pulsating at the same rate as my heartbeat. And so once I connect to that, I just feel that I send all of that anxiety, all of that negativity, all of it down, and Mother Earth will recycle that for you so that you get positivity back. So that's another way. You can do a short meditation and you can send all of those emotions, all of that, negativity, anxiety, whatever it is that you're feeling, down into Mother Earth. So that is another way that you can use Magick in some way, shape, or form to do some grounding work. Another way that you can do some grounding work by using Magick and using nature is connecting with the spirit of a tree. Trees are excellent about calming you down, grounding you, and bringing you to a better centered place and more peaceful place. You don't have to like hug a tree. You can if you want to, if that's your thing. But what you can do is just go and sit down at the base of your tree and put your back to it, and then close your eyes and visualize that tree enveloping you. Visualize that tree kind of embracing you with its branches and its leaves, like it's, taking care of you, protecting you, and all of that. And just sit in that beautiful, warm feeling of the tree being right close to you and connecting to that tree spirit. And just by doing that, you're going to be releasing a lot of this anxiety that you have. Another way to do it is if you live near water. So if you live near a beach, if you live near a clean river or a lake that you feel comfortable going into, you want to make sure that you go up into the water all the way up until your knees maybe. And you just sit down. No, don't sit down. You just stand there and you just feel your anxiety leaving you, all of those feelings that are making you leaving you and going into the water. And the water, the body of water, the element of water will replenish that and will change. And then what I like to do when I'm doing that, I primarily do it in the ocean because I'm not a big fan of rivers and lakes, but if I'm near water, I'll do it in the ocean. And what I feel is every time the water comes in, it'll hit me, and then that is another, basically it's an infusion of fresh, non-anxious energy, calming energy that comes in, and when the tide goes out, it pulls all that negativity, and then it brings in and out. And you can do that. Sometimes I've done it for as long as 15 minutes, and it really works incredibly well to bring you to a place of calm and peace. So those are my techniques for doing that. Another thing that you can do is you can do when you're doing your journey, if you're going to do a meditation, relaxation meditation, or something to that effect, you can use a little bit of lavender and just put it on your temples like this, and it'll help you to immediately calm down as well. So those are a couple of things that you can do to reduce your anxiety from where you are to kind of get to a more balanced place. So that was the first thing that I wanted to cover. The second thing that I want to cover right now is, what do you do when you get anxious or you get angry or you get very emotional? It is normal. It is perfectly natural to say, I'm going to pick up my tools and I'm going to make the situation better. Why? Because we're hurting. We're not feeling great. And so at that moment, we want to pick up our tools and we want to do something that's going to make us feel better. There's no need to be ashamed of that. That is a natural impulse that most of us will have. You have these tools. Why not use them to make yourself better? So let me explain to you why not use them. So for example, depending on what path you're on, if you're in a path of shamanic practice, that path works purely on your relationship with the world around you, right? Relationship with spirits and things to that effect. But if you're a witch, your path runs through willpower. Everything that a witch does is projected out through willpower. Whatever it is that this is why it's so important for us to get good visualization skills, because those skills are some of the skills that will help you to project your willpower on where it is that you want it to go. The problem is when you are highly emotional, whether you're anxious, depressed, angry, your willpower is not at its strongest. Your emotional body at that point is at its strongest. So imagine there's a battle between your emotional body and your mental body, right? When your emotional body is in check and you step into that spiritual space to do your magic, to do your spells, and you're a witch, your mental body is in charge. And that's what basically comes in to say, this is my will right here, and I am going to direct it whichever way I want to. So your willpower directed by your mental body is in tip-top shape, and this is when you get the best results. When you are emotional and you step into that space, what's going to happen is your mental body, which is what controls your willpower, is going to take a back seat. So what's going to take a front seat to that is going to be your emotional body, which means the way that you're going to direct your magic is going to be affected by your emotional state, which means that your spells have a very high chance of just not only not working, but backfiring towards you. So I would like to say that in my 25 plus years of practice, I have never seen somebody have good results from casting a spell when they're in a high emotional charge space. And I have helped a lot of people fix things that they did when they did magic at a highly emotionally charged space. So when you are emotional, even when you're sick, you're not at your best, that is not the time for you to cast a spell. When you're sick, what can you do to help yourself? You can light a candle, you can say a prayer to the universe and say, I feel like shit right now, I would love to feel better. Have the universe kind of bring that back to you. But outside of that, really there is no good way that you can get into that good space, that space of clean, crisp willpower when you are in an emotionally charged place. So if you do spells against against a partner, it's going to backfire. It's going to blow up in your face. If you do spells that is going to be basically we're more likely to do spells for revenge, for anger, for things like that when we're in that space. All of those things at that point are going to blow up in your face. So even if you decide that, you can make your decision that you're going to do some kind of spell to punish somebody, right? And I never recommend that as being your first avenue, but witchcraft is there, and we can, as long as you're willing to understand the consequences and accept the consequences of it, then that's fine. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you're focused on doing, you need to wait until your emotions are calmed down, and you need to enter that space in a very cool, collected, and emotional free space, so that when you're doing that work, your willpower is solely what's guiding you. Now, I've seen a lot of people rationalize that and say, oh, I'm calm enough to do it. Or I've heard this too. Once I do the space, it'll calm me. Once I do the work, it'll calm me down. Not the right way to do it. Once you do the work, it'll calm you down. Why? Because all of that, crazy energy you had, you sent it out into the world to do God knows what. Chances are it's going to blow up on you. That's why you feel better after you do it. So I would recommend doing other ways to calm yourself down, to release that the charged emotional state. And then once you are calm and collected, and I would say wait at least 3 days before you do that. You do the work to release this emotional state. Wait 3 days. Wait until you're calm, you're centered, you're collected, and then do whatever work you want to do. And I guarantee you that if you wait that time, by the time you are in a calm state to do the work, your intent and what you want to do, how you're going to do that work is going to change drastically. I'm not saying that you're going to say, oh, I don't want to do this now. You may still want to do it, but you may realize that the way you were thinking about doing it before is probably not the best way for you to do it, and you're going to do it in a very different way. So that is the rule of thumb generally, is because since we are, witches, we craft the world around us with our willpower. That is basically at the very center of what we do. Whereas in shamanic practice, the very center of what we do is based on relationships, right? So if you're in a relationship with spirit, I also don't recommend stepping in and going, screaming at them. And I speak from experience. I'm the one that has done that before. When I'm mad or I'm angry, I'll journey and be very anxious and very kind of angry. Why did you let this happen to me? And that never, ever ends well for me. So just as an FYI, you need to get yourself into a place where you're calm and collected before you journey. But it is more dangerous to be in that emotional state if you're practicing witchcraft, simply because a lot of times the entities that you are working with, you are wielding your power by taking the energy that they're giving you and refocusing it through you, through your willpower. It's not a matter of you asking them to go do something. It's a matter of them working through you to do that work. If you at that point are not calm and collected, or what we like to call a clear channel, you are not going to be effective. And so just be very careful with that. I have seen people who have ended up cursing themselves without meaning to. I have seen people that have, when they're doing that and they're mad that, their ex, they still maybe have feelings for their ex-boyfriend, and now the ex-boyfriend is dating somebody else. Even though they're with a partner right now, they just want that ex to be miserable and alone. So they'll go and they'll do the work out of anger. And what ends up happening is their relationship with their new partner falls apart. And that other relationship that your ex has with their new person goes great. So it's really a matter of you're never going to get your desired intent out of your work if you do it when you are in a highly charged emotional state. And that goes in all directions. If you are very depressed, if you are going like, everything sucks, life sucks, that's what your energy is going to follow. And then you're doing a spell, sending your willpower out there into the world to say everything sucks. Everything's already sucks. You don't need to reinforce that by sending your willpower out. So this is why it's important to cool that down. When your emotional body is in charge of your willpower, you are not your best self. You are not an effective witch at that point. So you need to make sure that that emotional body is taking a back seat, that you are not emotionally engaged in whatever it is that you're doing, so that when you finally do your work, it is really going the way that it's supposed to be going. It is your mental body. It is your willpower really coming from a place of logic and understanding, not from a place of emotion and, exploding and being depressed and being angry. So those are the differences between those two. So if anybody has any questions, make sure that you type them. The other thing, so there's a couple other things that I wanted to mention in this video today for all of you. And number one is that we are going to be doing our live sales now once a month instead of every week. What I noticed is we do get sales every week, but they're small, and it's a lot of time that we spent setting that up, and it's just not a good value for us to be putting that show on every week if we're not going to get the orders for it. So what we are going to be doing is we're going to be doing it once a month. It's going to be later in the evening, probably going to be like around 6:30 or so. It's going to be a lot more items than normally. And so you're going to be able to have a much bigger variety to shop from. And it also allows you time to save up so that you can do it that way. So that's number one that I wanted to tell you guys about. Number two I wanted to tell you guys about is there's a new group that you can join in the Wild Academy. And it's called Everyday Cartomancy. And this is a group, basically it's $10 a month to be a member of it, and you have access to all kinds of stuff. I do a monthly topic that we discuss related to cards and reading cards and doing it in any way, shape, or form. And we cover both oracle decks, tarot decks, whatever kind of deck you want. I'm going to cover playing cards, all of that. We may even be covering runes in the future. And it's $10 a month. There's a monthly challenge that goes on in that group all the time, which is for you to get to know your deck better, for you to become a better reader, and lots of tips. So if you want to join, just sign on to the Wild Academy, and you can join into that group by itself. Or if you're a member of the Wild Witch program already, you may not have noticed yet, but you already have access to that group. So that is included in your Wild Witch program. And the third thing that I want to talk to you guys about is we've made some changes to our Year in a Day class. So we are going to be discussing on August 31st, which I believe is this Wednesday night, the energies of September. So it'll be just the day before the month begins. And if you want to sign up for that as well, you can join into the Wild Academy. Just go into the courses section and you can choose Year in a Day. Or if you're a member of the Wild Witch program, it's already included. So I hope that everybody got a little bit out of this talk today, and I hope to see you guys again next week. I will post the topics this week for next month, which I haven't had a chance to post yet, but they will be posted. If you have any questions, feel free to post a reply to this video, or you can private message me on either social media platform or at the Wild Academy, or excuse me, at the Wild Community. All right, guys, take care. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.